Mario Kart World is awesome, but here are 100 things that Mario Kart players hate in it. When you just reach first place and immediately get hit with a blue shell. Not only that, but the guy who was just in first probably have been in that place forever, but as soon as I take it, someone else uses a blue shell. Getting Mario Karted. If you don't know the term, it is when you seem to be the most unlucky player in the world, where every single item is targeted directly at you and you get hit over and over, being comboed by multiple items. The worst feeling ever. When somebody passes you right as you're about to cross the finish line. And it's always because some lucky item they got, like golden or triple mushrooms they used to blow right by you when the goal is in sight. The coin item, possibly the worst item you can get in this game, and a very boring one too. Sure, it slightly increases your top speed, but any other defensive item is better when in first place. The character select screen, just what were they thinking here? All the costumes are different character slots, making it super annoying to find a specific character in all this clutter, causing it to be more confusing than ever now. When you're taking a turn and just barely go off-road but lose all of your speed because of it. Like, come on, I touched 1 pixel of grass here, yet I come to a halt. What is this? When you land on another racer, that bounces you right off the track. Yeah, in this game, landing on top of someone launches you up, which is super frustrating when you want to land on ground, but someone sticks their head in the way. When someone else takes the item box right before you, causing you to miss the items entirely. Even though the timing seems pretty specific, this oddly happens more than you think, leaving you sad and without an item. Unlocking all of the NPC characters, what an annoying method of doing so, because you have to get the Kamek item, which is super rare, then use it, and you'll get transformed into a random NPC which unlocks him. It's all luck, and you can get repeat NPCs too. Burning out at the start of a race. This can immediately put someone in a bad mood. The timing's not even that hard, so when you do mess it up, it feels even worse. The sight of everyone speeding by you as you sit there in shame doesn't help either. And something that YouTube hates is that when I spoke to them, they were not happy that no one had subscribed to the channel with the back of their finger. So let's see if you can appease the YouTube gods by subscribing below. Hitting yourself with your own item. This could be a bomb that explodes, a shell that bounces off the wall, or even a banana that you left on a previous lap. Yeah, it happens, and is especially more frustrating when you do it to yourself versus another racer. Congrats, you played yourself. When you use the Boo item and he comes back with a coin. Like, seriously, Boo? Out of all the other items you could have stolen from all the other racers, you chose the coin item to steal for me? Gee, thanks. Lakitu pulling you out of spots in the world for no reason. Now, I get he has to stop you from trying to leave the map, but in certain random areas, he just won't let you go for no reason. It's not even indicated. These areas look no different than the ones you can explore. The price tag. Yes, a full $80 for this game. Wow. This has to be the most expensive standard game on the market, right? Even AAA, PS5, and Xbox One X games are $70. There's not even that much more content to justify this dramatic price increase, so what gives here? Falling off Rainbow Road. Now this can apply to any track with pits, really, but just Rainbow Road is the most infamous example of it. Since there are no guardrails, it's a winding road and everywhere is a pit. So when you do fall off, not only does your speed come to a halt, but Lakitu takes 3 to 5 business days to put you back on the track. Throwing a red shell, but it hits a wall. Like, come on, when I get a red shell, I think it's a guaranteed hit. I don't even know how these shells manage to hit the wall most of the time, but it's so anticlimactic whenever they do. The long straightaway sections. Don't get me wrong, they can still be fun with all the characters and obstacles to avoid. It's really just the amount of them you play on that can get tiring, especially compared to the tightly crafted traditional tracks of previous games. When you specifically keep a mushroom for a shortcut, but lose the item right before you can use it. Yeah, it can feel like you got hit at the worst time in these situations, like your plans have been ruined. The fact that some characters don't have unlockable costumes when others do. It really just kind of de-incentivizes you to play as these characters when in free roam, as there's no point to get the food items since you won't unlock anything. Plus, I want to see my boy, the cow, in a hamburger costume or something like that, but I can't. Hunting down the collectibles in the open world. Like, at first it's fine, but as you get more and more of them, it just becomes impossible to track them all. The map is useless and there's no indication for where they are. And considering there are almost 400 P-switch missions, they can be a pain to find them all. The fact that the Grand Prix mode has no 3-lap racetracks other than the first race. All other races are just driving to the next track and then doing only 1 lap on that track. This can be annoying since you barely get to play on the other courses. Plus, there's still load screens too, so what is the point of driving to the next track then? When you barely don't make the timer in the missions. Yeah, feels bad. Especially when you keep coming so close to beating it and the goal is barely in your reach, but not quite. These can be challenging. Getting hit by lightning. Possibly one of the most annoying items to get hit by. Just because there is absolutely no warning and no way to avoid it. It's not even like the blue shell where you have to be in first place to be hit. No, this can happen to anyone at any time. When you're rail grinding and jump to the rail next to you, but for some reason you missed the rail and didn't snap to it. Yeah, that's a buzzkill from doing all these tricks and unexpectedly coming to a stop. When people throw back items right as they're finishing the race. Like, okay, you clearly won. Why do you gotta interrupt me from finishing? It's not like you have an alliance with the other racers. You're just trolling. When you see an awesome costume that another player has, but for the life of you, you can't get it yourself. It seems like every time you get every other costume except for that specific one that you want. My luck can't be this bad, right? So you get blue shelled. That's not fun, but we already talked about that. But what's even worse is getting blue shelled and then getting the horn item right after it, i.e. the item made to destroy the blue shell. It's like the game just knows it's rubbing salt in the wound at this point. Like, haha, could have used this a few seconds ago. The water boating sections. I mean, they're not the worst thing in the world, but there's always a bit of a sigh when the track turns into a lake, as your controls become a lot more slippery and harder to make turns now. Rubber band AI, the thing that has haunted Mario Kart players since the series' inception and is still prominent in the latest title. And it's basically how the computer players will always stay close to you, meaning no matter how fast you think you're going, a CPU will always catch up to you. When you restart one of the P-switch missions and have to rewatch the mission intro cutscene every time. Like, come on, why do I need to see this same video? I'm 20 attempts in at this point. I think I know what to do already. When it seems like you can't trick off the waves. Like, when you get in a good flow, it's super satisfying to constantly gain boosts from multiple waves, but then when your flow is off, it seems like your tricks just don't work, even if your timing is right, and it's hard to get back on track. When the course with 1 or 2 votes wins the vote selection. Really, 23 other people didn't want to play on this track, but because one guy happened to get lucky, now we all race on a track that no one wants. Getting a costume that you already have after eating the food. Yeah, nothing can quite kill all of that hype and anticipation for what new costume you're gonna get than getting one you already have. Or worse, it resetting you back to your default skin. Like, what is this? That can happen too? Getting bumped off the edge. Like, wow, this is even more personal than a player hitting you with an item. Nah, he gets right up at you and knocks you off himself as he blows right by in his car. The amount of disrespect here is crazy. Using a defensive item right before something hits you. You'll be in first with a green shell behind you as protection, and this will go on for a while. So you think, nothing's happening. I might as well throw it back and see if I hit anything. But as soon as you do, suddenly there's a red shell coming your way with nothing to protect you from it. Finishing in last place. Now, this has never been fun, but in World, it is especially annoying because there are 24 racers now. So this means you are worse than 23 other racers, rather than simply worse than 11 or 7 from previous games. The fact that there is no 200cc in this game. Seriously, of all the things to include from 8, I would think 200cc would be one of the top inclusions here. And that's just because this game is more open and big than ever, making this faster speed a perfect fit for the world map and for the long straightaway sections. Getting eliminated by 1 placement in Knockout Tour. Now, this new game mode is awesome, and it's a fresh way to make the race a lot more intense. But this means barely losing in a mode like this just stings even more. When Lakitu stops you from taking a shortcut. Like, look over here, I could just drop down instead of taking this long loop around, but Lakitu just says nope and ruins your fun. You thought you were clever? I don't think so. When other people are bagging. Now, this is the process of specifically falling behind in order to get better items from item boxes to gain a quick lead later on. This is especially more annoying in this game due to all the chaos of 24 racers that you can avoid by doing this. Plus, the items are way more effective in this game too. There only being 2 battle modes. Like what? Just the coin and the balloon one. Those are like the most basic ones. They play out practically the same way too. The lack of variety really sucks here. The fact that you can only vote on tracks that are close to your location in online mode. Like, I get you guys want to promote your big open world and all, but what's the point of an open world if you're just going to be stuck picking races in one part of it? This is just a weird way of causing less variety here. Koopa Troopa Beach. Like, this has to be the most boring course in the game. It's just a small circle. It doesn't even have like the fun chaos that Baby Park had. In fact, you can already get that chaos in the straightaway sections with 24 racers anyways, making this track feel even more pointless. Hidden stats. Why are they even a thing? If you didn't know, these car stats are not the only things you have to worry about, as there are more stats not told to the player, like mini turbos and which cars drive better on certain terrains. Even all the characters have stats that are not told to you as well. Like, why is this all left a mystery when you don't have enough time or space to charge a jump? Now, the new jump move is pretty useful, so when you are stuck somewhere where the conditions aren't right to perform one, it gets annoying. When you're drifting and you happen to aim yourself right into a car, that's never fun. And you can see it coming too, but you just can't quite steer your drift out of the way in time and somehow perfectly still get hit. Waiting for the last few people to vote for a course. Yeah, no, it's okay guys, take your time. I'm sure you're all just very critical thinkers and really have to analyze the pros and cons of each course. It's okay, I'm fine with waiting longer for the next race to start, no big deal. How you can't fly outside of the little fly areas of each course in free roam. Like, come on, why give us this awesome new flying ability when you can only use them in tiny areas? I want to fly around the whole map. That would be so cool. Getting crushed in Toad's factory. Is there more of a worse feeling than this? Just having all your momentum come to a halt as you're turned into a pancake. And this is one of those things where it seems like you could barely make it, but no, your timing wasn't quite right. When you hit someone with an item, yet they don't seem to slow down by it at all. I don't exactly get what's going on here in these situations, but there are definitely times where I'm right next to someone and hit them, yet they are still faster than me. When you drift too sharply and go right off the track. Yeah, it's never a good feeling to have your speed and turbo boost all just come to a halt because you didn't quite calculate your turn properly. And the inverse of this is drifting too wide. This is never a good feeling either. Just seeing everyone blow right by you who took the turn correctly after you unintentionally took the scenic route sucks. Even more so when you go so wide you're off the track. When Boo steals your item. You know, this is even worse than just simply losing it. Just knowing that there is some other wise guy using the item that I had makes it even worse. This is especially so when you had a really good item too. Getting the blooper item. Does anyone really care about this thing? Oh wow, you literally covered a small section of my screen. I guess I can't drive anymore. The fact that all the collectibles in the open world only unlock stickers. Really? The world is fun and all, but I wish there was a bit more incentive to complete these challenges rather than just the challenge itself. The stickers are virtually useless too. Okay, so you fall back behind in a race, but not to worry. You see an item box, so you grab it and only get a banana. This is expected in the top spots, but when you're in the lower spots, you expect some better items to get you back in the race. Not one of the worst ones. What's a banana gonna do? The fact that there are 5 baby characters in this game. They're not even skins or a part of the NPC characters. Like, they wasted 5 costume character slots for each of them. At this point, why? Getting hit by an item in midair. Yeah, as if getting hit by an item wasn't bad enough, when in the air, you'll plummet to your doom, causing Lakitu to have to scoop you up, which takes even more time for something in many cases that is unavoidable. Missing a trick off a jump. Now this is one of those less annoying things, but you still like sigh when this happens. Doing so many tricks, you're bound to mess up at least once, and the jump just feels empty without it. This one may be pretty specific, but it's when you get hit by a red shell that someone else threw backwards. Like, throwing it forward or holding onto it for later would have probably been a less riskier plan because red shells don't track you when you throw back, but the risk paid off because it hit you. So when you have the item roulette rolling, you can mash the item button to make it stop quicker. But what's annoying is when you mash it for too long and accidentally use the item right away. because it's the same button. Or better yet, when you forget you already have an item in the slot and instantly use it since you're mashing that button. Either way, accidentally using your item kinda sucks. Certain playable characters that didn't make it in. Specifically fan favorites like Funky Kong, Petey Piranha, or Kamek. This is especially annoying in World because they have some of the most random characters included, so it's even more insulting when Coin Coffer makes it in, but your favorite character didn't. The fact that you can't free roam around Rainbow Road. Yeah, seriously, this is the only track in this game where you can't do this. What's even worse is that this is one of the best versions of Rainbow Road with some of the coolest views of the entire world. I would love to just chill up here and take everything in. This game possibly has one of the greatest Mario soundtracks out there, which makes it so annoying when you can't quite figure out what song is playing at a certain moment. Like the name is on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't quite remember it, so I guess you'll never be able to look this up and hear the song again. What's worse is that there's no track list or any way to see the title of the songs playing too. Getting the coin block item. Now don't get me wrong, getting a coin is bad and all, but at least you kind of expect it when you're in the higher positions. With the coin block, you always get it when you're in a lower spot, like Nintendo thinks this is a good item or something, but nah, it just gives you a bunch of coins. I need a speed boost when I'm behind, not this. The lack of a story in the open world. You have this massive world with so much potential to do something new with it, like a story, but there isn't one. Even Mario Golf had a story, but the big new Switch 2 game doesn't. Nothing being unlocked after you beat all the cups in Grand Prix. Yeah, even if you get the gold in all of them, you don't get a mirror mode or anything, which makes it less satisfying after you're done. CPU players getting the perfect items at the perfect time. Like, why is it that they always seem to get a red shell as soon as you pass them? Or they get the perfect boost item to pass you in the end? Something's going on here. Getting disconnected from an online race. Whether it be on your end, or even worse, on the end of Nintendo's servers, yeah, it's never a good feeling to see a communication error has occurred. And even worse, after you get disconnected, you have to reselect everything. The game mode, your character, your cart. Like, obviously, I want to look for another race for what I was just playing. Just try again and find me a new lobby. How you can't turn on and off specific items anymore. This feels like the series is going backwards now. Mario Kart 8 introduced this feature and made it seem like this was the standard, but it's missing here. The battle mode tracks that are just reused portions of the main map. Look, this isn't as bad as the maps in the original Mario Kart 8 battle mode, but they're still pretty bad. They don't flow nearly as well as the handcrafted battle mode stages, making no one really want to play on them. The fact that you can't switch battle modes in between rounds. So you have to play a full set of coin runners or a full set of balloon battle. Just why limit the options here? When you get hit by a random green shell in battle mode. This can actually happen more than you think, since so many of them are thrown in one centralized spot. But that doesn't make it any less frustrating to get hit by, as you're still thinking, did that really just happen? When you do all these fancy wall tricks and rail grinding just to realize that the normal path is actually faster. Yeah, there's nothing quite like seeing a racer just casually drive past you on the road as you look like you're straight out of a Tony Hawk game, trying to build up boosts, but the path is just that much longer. When you get bumped off a wall. You know, you're tricking, driving up a certain wall, and then you hit this tiny notch or whatever, and your whole trick sequence is ruined. You just sadly plummet back to the ground. The characters saying their annoying voice lines as they pass you. There's just something so irritating about cute little cartoon voices mocking you as they take your placement. Laugh while you can, guys. I'm coming back for you. When you miss the ramp that leads you on a rail. Yes, not only did you miss your chance to get into an area that lets you build up speed and boosts, but you also bonked right into a wall too. The stickers. Does anyone really like these collectibles? First of all, they're so tiny that you can barely even see them when you stick them on your car. And there are so many collectibles that are tied to these stickers that it seems like a waste. Getting stuck on objects. You know, when you hit the environment in a certain way so that you awkwardly stop for a sec. Even though it doesn't look like I stopped for that long during the race, this brief pause feels like forever. The coins being more useless now than ever, since it takes 20 coins to reach top speed in this game when before it took 10 to reach the same speed, making each coin increase your speed by a lesser amount. When you don't drive up the wall and just kind of bonk off of it. Yeah, not only is it super super unsatisfying to miss your trick, but now you lose most of your speed too, so it's like double as bad. When you're going up a slope and get hit by an item, this makes it so you have to regain all your speed as you drive up this steep slope, making it way more annoying to get hit here. When you have an item that's circling around you, yet you still manage to take a hit. This is some terrible timing that never feels good. Like, really, someone managed to thread the needle and still hit you? Missing the respawn boost after Lakitu picks you back up. Yeah, because normally if you press A right as you hit the ground, then you'll get a boost to help get you back in the race. So when you mess up the timing, it feels like a double whammy since you just got knocked off the track too. When you hit someone with the bomb item and get blown up from it. Just knowing that you caused yourself to get hit in one of the weirdest ways makes you feel really stupid after pulling this off. When certain out-of-bounds areas look like shortcuts. Like, you'll be pulling up and see this perfect ramp here to trick off of, but then Lakitu just comes in and takes you back to the track. It's even worse here just because of how many alternate routes there are in the tracks in general. You know those collectibles that you can see above you but just can't quite reach? Yeah, they're a pain. It's like they just have a carrot on a string that they're taunting you with here. Using the Joy-Con wheel tilt controls. They're so imprecise and laggy, making them frustrating to use. Nintendo still even makes the little peripherals. Like, give it a rest, guys. This isn't the Wii era anymore. The fact that Rob is now turned into a bike. Like, poor guy, at this point just don't even include him in the game. Why tease us with him coming back as a playable character? The fact that smart steering is still turned on by default. Yeah, this is minor because it's really easy to turn off, but just why is the easy mode set as the default setting? So in those instances where you forget to switch it back, you'll be confused for a bit why the game feels so different. When you lose your crown. Look, no one likes losing the first place spot in general, but more importantly now, you get this sweet crown when in first. So when you fall behind now, you look worse too. Getting hit by the blue shell when you're not in first. This sucks because you get the same penalties as the guy in first, but without being in that placement. Like, why are you dragging me down with him? I could have just taken the lead. How you can't jump between two train rails. This is so frustrating because why would you design it where your jump is further than the rail distance? This would be the perfect area to jump back and forth between. When someone uses your slipstream to not only pass you, but bump into you as well. Jeez, talk about insult to injury here. The fact that he uses something that you gave him in a sense against you. When you get hit by a bomb car. Now, I don't actually know if you get stunned for a longer duration versus hitting a normal car, but it's definitely way more of an embarrassing way to get hit. Like, the whole track can see the explosion and laugh at your expense. When you keep hearing the same annoying voice lines from the characters when using the tricks. This is even more annoying because you're incentivized to trick multiple times in a row, meaning the same sounds will start to repeat pretty quickly. When you give other players coins with certain items like the gold shell and coin block. Nothing is worse than creating a nice line of coins for you to collect, only for like half of them to be gone by the time you reach it. Barely missing someone with an item. Whether it be a shell, banana, or even horn, it's never fun when you think you have some sucker lined up perfectly and cleanly miss. They don't even react, change their route, or whatever. They're totally unaware of what just happened. Not having a mushroom for a shortcut. You know, you can see the perfect shortcut in the distance that will allow you to pass the top racers, but just can't quite use it. Well, let me know if there are some other things that annoyed you too, and I will see you all next week. Peace!